Can you hear me? Yep. So again, thanks to AWE. We're really excited to be here with Limor Schafman of LG Nova, and really excited to speak about this incredibly diverse and rapidly growing topic of the enterprise metaverse, specifically with all of the challenges of the enterprise. IQ3 Connect is a young startup out of MIT, and we're focused on building an industrial metaverse platform that is really easy and scalable. It uses no-code technologies combined with open WebXR and OpenXR as a way to look at creating metaverse experiences and metaverse spaces. And our technology is really built around pushing a lot of complex data that appears in the enterprise environment very easily and in a very scalable way into the metaverse experiences. And I'd like to now introduce Limor Schafman from LG Nova to speak about the LG Nova program that we're part of.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Actually, I'm going to let you.
Oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So great to be here with you all. Thank you so much, Ali, for inviting us to be part of this. So LG Nova, what are we? We are the innovation unit for LG Electronics. We are literally across the street. That's where our offices are. And our mission is to develop new businesses for LG Electronics. And the way we're doing it is a number of different ways. You see a multi-pronged approach over there. So one of the primary ways is through a challenge, which I will describe in another moment in further detail. And that's how we had the pleasure of meeting Ali and his team, IQ3. And also we have a number of different other arms. So one is that we are doing corporate development. We also have strategic partnerships, and we are developing different kinds of funds. So for example, we have a capital alliance in which we have companies and different kinds of organizations, nonprofits, et cetera, that are interested in investing in the companies in which we are a part of our ecosystem. So we make a direct connect, and that's beautiful. And also we are developing a fund, so we are investing directly in the startups with which we are working and which make it through the whole challenge program, which again I'll discuss. And we have an overall program and system of building the ecosystem. One of the key things that I think is unique about us is two things. One, our team, several of us are longtime LG employees, like our friend Jin Anwan, who's sitting in the back there, who's one of the entrepreneurs in residence. But also, we are largely coming from all walks of life, multiple serial entrepreneurs who have come together in order to create a new innovation unit for LG Electronics. And another thing I think is quite important, and that is that we are working with companies such as Ali's in order to collaborate together to build something new. So we're not just putting money out there. We're not just acquiring a company and then putting it on the shelf, as often happens, unfortunately, with large corporations. We are actively pursuing how we can work together, what we can build together, and then how we can build a business together. This is absolutely key, and Ali's going to talk about in further detail about that. So if we can take another look at the next slide for just a second. So here is our Mission for the Future challenge. And so just so you know, I have these cards here. We've got a couple of things happening. One is the challenge is going to open in September. I'll describe it in a moment. And also we are going to have an event in the fall. You're all invited. It would be wonderful to have you all. So about this challenge, what are we doing? So there are a number of different topics that we are focusing on. Metaverse broadly is one of them. Also connected and digital health, energizing mobility, the smart home, smart lifestyle, and a couple of others. And what we're going to do is, so last year was the first time we had a challenge. We had have over 1,300 companies from around the world. Everything from pre-seed all the way through Series A applying. We went through a system in which we selected 50 companies to begin to incubate, because we have this incubation team with entrepreneurs in residence that work hand in hand with these companies to figure out what is that collaboration thesis. And now we've selected a 20, and then we'll have a final 10. And with those final 10, they will be our first transactional partners with which we are going to build these new businesses and these new business concepts. So that's how we're working. So we invite you all to please come and participate. It'd be wonderful to have you be part of our multiverse that we are creating, this ecosystem that we're creating. And I think that's it. Is there one more slide of the two of us together? There we go. Yeah. Handing it back over to you. Thank you so much, Ali.
Well, thanks very much, Limor. I think LG Nova is an incredible program, and running a startup and working with large enterprises is extremely challenging and extremely time-consuming. And I can say that programs like LG Nova are really are game changers. I mean, I've been in other startup programs, and really the kind of success and collaboration that we're seeing working with the LG Nova team is absolutely incredible and unmatched. And really, our objective here is to accelerate technology and develop business solutions and bring them faster to the market. And in this case, we are focused on enterprise metaverse domains and really marrying the technology with an organization like LG Nova to bring real value out there and really contribute to the metaverse discussion, if I can use that word. So, I'd like to put a stake in the ground here, and what is the metaverse? We've heard many definitions, but I like to think of it like a whole new modality, right? I mean, it's just a new way of interacting with digital content, with others in a way that has never quite happened before. At the scale that we're looking at today, it has never happened. That is enabled by the devices that we've heard about today at AWE and yesterday, as well as the internet and other technologies have enabled this. And this whole new modality, really opens up phenomenal opportunities for digital transformation. I mean, we've been hearing digital transformation in the enterprise for many, many years, but this is a very different transformative approach that enterprises can adopt to really, in many domains, and there are a few that are early domains that really make sense for leveraging the metaverse modality. And why should enterprises care? I mean, why would you want to look at this or care about this? And different, some companies think that this is just a game or it's for consumers, but I think this is really important, and it can have a tremendous impact on the enterprise. So, we're working with companies that have diverse remote workforces in different parts of the world, and now they need to, and these are younger generations that they need to stitch together in a cohesive organization. And you need better tools, you need better ways to interact, collaborate, and work together. Enterprises are also faced by sustainability commitments. I mean, we all see the effects of climate change, and I believe that technologies like the metaverse and the remote collaboration enabled by that can really make a difference for companies to meet their sustainability commitments. And another very interesting area that we've learned and encountered working with enterprises is bringing equity and inclusion and kind of just leveling the playing field. So there are companies that have teams in India, for example, and teams in the US, and this is an equalizer, right? Put everybody on the same level for learning, collaboration, and participating in work and in the workforce. And there are many tools in the metaverse for doing that. And if you look at the enterprise, I mean, there are unprecedented opportunities for enhancing operational efficiencies, making your organization more competitive, as well as new revenue streams. But there are a number of challenges too. So, dealing with complex data, complex, IT requirements, and many other challenges that need to be overcome to be able to realize these efficiencies. But this is happening, and we're seeing that every day with the companies that we're working with. And if you think about the metaverse, some of the current tools are just not, they're limited. I mean, they work for many situations, but I think this needs a whole sort of rethinking, which is going on in the community about what this really means and what are the right tools. And this is, but it's here. This is the metaverse, sort of this modality is here today. Companies are leveraging it in different ways, and at some point it's all going to become very cohesive, and sort of everybody will think about it in one new way. But this is how I see it. It's a step change in the productivity, right? I mean, you can collaborate, you can do things in ways that were really not possible before with the kind of the tools and software that was available before. So again, this is fairly new, so where does it make sense? What are the early enterprise domains that really make sense for the enterprise metaverse applications? And we've heard over the few days that I've been sitting here and listening, this resonates with many of you. We look at product development, we look at training and education, marketing, sales and marketing as well, manufacturing, as well as customer support. And we're working with companies where these things are not only sort of, you can think of them as little metaverses within these organizations where they're using XR and they're using VR technologies for product design, training and education. But if you think about beyond the company boundaries as well, where you're bringing in suppliers, you're bringing in customers in ways to engage in collaborative meetings, suppliers that, in manufacturing, that are interfacing your products in virtual build processes, in virtual assembly processes. And so we're seeing companies that are not only deploying these within their organizations, but looking at ways to leverage this even beyond their organizations in new ways. So this is a very exciting, these are very exciting early domains. But there are a lot of business challenges as well. So how do you build think about a business case? Some people don't have even the time, business units don't have the time to look at it. So again, the challenge is finding the right insertion points and the right receptive use cases that really make sense today for metaverse applications. So for example, there are parts of product development that will just not work with a metaverse-like application, but there are areas in manufacturing that have pain points and operational inefficiencies where it makes a lot of sense to use industrial and enterprise metaverse technologies. And again, a really, really critical thing that we as a startup have learned as well is having realistic timelines and setting the right expectations. You can do pilots, you can work with innovation teams, but if the expectations are not set, then you never get to that next level of going into production. And really, that's where the business value is to an enterprise. And then there are human factors. So we are still getting over the fact that I'm going to look like a geek when I wear this, and we've seen that over the years. And I think that's changing now, but there are a lot of human factors, dizziness, and other things that I think the whole community is solving today. And I think these will eventually not be an issue, but today we have to deal with these as well when deploying the technology. And then finally, just threading the needle and getting going from the bottom all the way to the top, and the change management is another really challenging part of implementing and deploying any kind of industrial or enterprise metaverse technology. So yesterday there was a great talk by John O'Shea at Applied Materials, and he's one who has really implemented this and brought this into practice very successfully. So you can see his talk from yesterday on really overcoming these challenges, and specifically the change management part of implementing the metaverse. And now we come to the technical challenges. Is it too complex? Is it too expensive to scale? Yeah, it works in a pilot, but how do I deal with rapidly changing hardware? I have built my metaverse application for specific hardware. Now there's a new hardware technology out there. Content is a huge problem. A lot of companies have the content, but how do you bring it on? How do you optimize it? And then how do you author training or other experiences around that? And then the IT environments and constraints around security, a lot of deployment issues that need to be addressed before these can be scaled up in the environment. And these are all problems that are being solved today in different ways, but these are things that at least us as a startup encounter in the real world production environments. And then there are different deployment strategies like open platforms like OpenXR and WebXR that work just out of a browser as opposed to building apps and deploying apps. So there are different deployment strategies that also come into play when looking at the metaverse and really scaling it in a different way. And here we can see two examples. So typically you see socials, very simple examples. But on the other hand, for industrial applications, the models are, the content is very, very complex. And you have to be able to deal with that to really make this work in production environments. And so here's an example of using OpenXR and WebXR technologies that just require a web browser with no installation. And these open standards really make it, very neutral and really are a way to build metaverse experiences without really a lot of the boundaries and the constraints that occur. So in this case, we're seeing here you can create these low-power metaverse workspaces just in your web browser, and these can exist in tabs. So you can open hundreds of these, and they're just like little websites or little tabs. But you can have a lot of complex data in them that allow you to interact with this data in a way that was never available before. So you would have to be on a complex authoring application, but now technologies, these can exist in the metaverse sort of almost indefinitely, if you wish. So there's, this is an example of, using the metaverse. Another example is, other types of industrial data that can be used for training and collaboration. And these are all spaces that exist, in a browser, on the web, and they can exist indefinitely with very low requirements in terms of their compute power. And you can also compose in these spaces, right? So you can drag and drop different content, and you can do this collaboratively in a completely browser environment. And because these are using open standards, you can plug in pretty much any headset that supports OpenXR and WebXR. So I can seamlessly go from the web browser into the Quest or into a Windows mixed reality device. And you can also collaborate. So instead of using web conferencing tools, this is a completely 3D metaverse environment for product development and product collaboration. And you can also use it for training. And all of these can exist out there in the metaverse, and they're completely accessible from your web browser. And again, this is a textured example, so different types of content. And IQ3's platform allows you to manage hundreds of these workspaces from a single enterprise dashboard. And again, these can be launched directly from the browser. And so the initial focus that we looked at is around training and education, where we looked at, okay, can we transform physical training into the metaverse training? And we know that the questions about does it work have been answered. Learning and quality benefits are well established. But the questions that really came up is, where do you use this training? Is it cost competitive with other modalities? So if I'm creating a video, can I use this training in a cost competitive way? And then understanding what are the other barriers for large-scale transformation. So if you can make this cost-effective, you can scale it to hundreds of training modules. And those are the kind of questions that really came up in this initiative. And what we learned is that, yes, there is a significant potential to achieve massive operational efficiencies, but you have to make this available for non-developers and creators to publish. So can you make this as easy as a PowerPoint presentation to create the training? The cost and quality must be comparable to other e-learning modalities, and teams must be able to work in a centralized cloud platform. So you have different teams in different parts of the world. Can they work together collaboratively to build this kind of training? And the other thing is minimizing the IT barriers. So how do you deploy this? I know there have been many other talks on this topic as well. But a browser-based deployment provides a completely new way of deploying training and new ways of also having new business models around this kind of simple browser deployment that doesn't need any application to be installed. All you need to do is just share a link, and this kind of metaverse training can be accessible globally. So with that, I'd like to end with what to expect next. So we're developing exciting new technologies that allow more content, metaverse content, to be used on device. So you want to be able to use this with your normal internet, no streaming, and these are some of the new technologies we are developing with the platform, on the platform itself. And we are building partnerships, as Limor mentioned, to really bring the best-in-class solutions faster to market. And finally, we have just started with a very small initiative, but we will be expanding to other metaverse domains. Thank you very much. and happy to answer any questions.
We have microphones on both sides here of the aisle, so step on up. There you go.
Hi, I'm just curious in terms of the current platform that you're supporting. How many simultaneous users can you have in your metaverse space?
So if you think about a single workspace for training or for collaboration, with all the complex data, you can get, we've tested about 100 users simultaneously, but what happens is that sort of on average, what we've seen is more like 30 to 40 users in a collaborative meeting or a kind of a virtual training classroom where you have an instructor training students or field technicians around some product.
I'm also curious that you mentioned that this was browser-based. So does it support like within a headset like WebXR? Like can you immerse yourself?
That is right. So it's the same thing. So OpenXR and WebXR is basically the browser uniform API to all of the headsets. So for example, you can open up a metaverse training in your Quest using the Quest browser, and all you need is basically a link or a QR code, and you can jump into the training without any other installation or an app installation.
Next questions. Limor, you were talking to me about these cards. Did you want to bring that up?
Sure, I'll bring them up again. Thank you. So this, please come up, or Clay has these as well. It talks about the festival. It has QR codes. Our website is lgnova.com. Please take a look. We want to, the applications process will open up in September for our next challenge, and also we are going to have an event in the fall, so it'd be great to have you participate in both of those. And I'm available to answer any questions, and Jin, he is the entrepreneur in residence in charge of Metaverse as well. He's sitting right there, and we'll happy to discuss and answer any questions that you might have. Thanks.